Dr. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is a story of gruesome body horror, terrifying monsters, and cruel experimentation. Young Frankenstein is all of that, but portrayed in the funniest possible manner. From the inspiration it provided to the band Aerosmith to the original props of Frankenstein being used, here are some crazy facts about the movie Young Frankenstein. Stick around to the end of the video for the extra bonus fact as well. Number 10. Feldman for Igor. Apart from the main character of the movie, perhaps one of the most iconic roles in the entire movie is played by Marty Feldman, the famous British comedian who is known for his protruding, misaligned eyes. One might think Feldman was insecure about his eyes, but Feldman used his eyes to his very advantage. It is Feldman's physical appearance that made Gene Wilder and Brooks write the role of Igor with him specifically in mind. Feldman read the script and realized that it was something that was right up his alley, so he ended up accepting. Number 9. Using props from the original Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein is known for being a film that's not just funny. It is a masterpiece in writing, direction, and editing. But when you watch the film, you might feel that it's from a bygone era. But you wouldn't be wrong to feel that way because many of the props were from the original film. Many of the original props from the 1931 Frankenstein were reused in this film, and because of that, the film ended up looking much older, giving it a vintage feel. Number 8. Stay out of the way. Gene Wilder is perhaps one of the best matches for the directorial vision of Mel Brooks. But even so, Gene Wilder had only one request for Mel Brooks if he was to star in this film, and that is, he wanted Mel to not come on screen. Mel had a habit of acting in the movies he directed, and often broke the fourth wall in some manner, which Gene thought was mildly annoying. So Gene had asked Mel to stay behind the camera for this movie, and stay he did. Number 7. Igor inspired Aerosmith. You heard that right. Igor, played by Marty Feldman, ended up saying a line so iconic that it inspired rock bands in the world, Aerosmith, to write one of their biggest hits. In the movie, there is a scene in which Igor points with his finger and says,
"Walk this way. This way."
which is an old joke that has been repeated since the vaudeville era. But Aerosmith, who had taken a break from recording and went to see the movie, saw this line and was inspired to make the song Walk This Way. Although arguably Aerosmith's Walk This Way has nothing to do with Frankenstein or monsters. Number 6. From Oscars to Parodies. Young Frankenstein, although a comedy film, had a star-studded cast, with Gene Wilder fresh off his iconic role as Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Peter Boyle, who was trailblazing through the 70s. But there's one talent on the set that was there not for the money, but purely for the love of it. Gene Hackman was fresh off his Oscar win and wanted to have a change of scenery. As such, he had agreed to a request from one of his friends to act in Young Frankenstein. This is how he ended up playing the blind hermit, delivering the iconic "I was gonna make espresso" line.
I was gonna make espresso.
Are you enjoying the video so far? Before we head into the top 5 facts about Young Frankenstein, make sure to drop a like. Now on with the show. Number 5. The Switch. Believe it or not, 2 very crucial roles in Frankenstein would have been very different because these actors' roles were initially switched. Young Frankenstein had the opportunity to have both Terry Garr and Madeline Kahn in the film, but originally it was intended that Garr would play the role of Elizabeth and Kahn would play the role of Inga. But the actresses then later decided that they were both suited to play each other's roles instead, and ended up switching finally. Just imagine how different the dynamic would have been if they had gone with the original casting. Number 4. Several takes. Now, Gene Wilder had worked previously with Mel Brooks for several films. In fact, the idea for Young Frankenstein was proposed by Wilder while the duo were shooting Blazing Saddles. But Gene did not know what he was in for with Mel at the helm of a comedy film. Wilder ended up finding the entire process hilarious and required several takes to just get a few lines correct. Wilder was not used to shooting comedy and found himself stumbling over his words because of how funny it was. Some scenes were even shot nearly a dozen times. Number 3. The power of editing. Now, we all know just how important editing is. It is one of the cornerstones of the movie, and it's not something that began with the digital age. Editing existed when film was shot on tape as well, albeit not as advanced as today's post-processing techniques. Even so, it is the power of editing that is credited for the movie actually being enjoyable. It is reported that initially the initial cut of Frankenstein was nearly twice as long as the final cut of the film. Wilder and Brooks watched the initial cut and believed that the movie would flop, but after hours of editing, the two finally believed that they had a film that was presentable to the public. This would mean that there's nearly an hour's worth of film that the world has actually not seen till now. Number 2. Commercially and critique Ellie. Young Frankenstein is one of the most iconic comedy films of all time. It's a must-watch for all those who call themselves fans of comedy films, and it is a masterclass in acting. When it was released, the movie was a success, not just commercially, but critically as well. Brooks was a big name in the 70s, and because of that, Young Frankenstein gained a lot of traction and brought in nearly $90 million on a budget of just $3 million. Additionally, the movie is rated a solid 94% on Rotten Tomatoes as of now. It's also been recognized as one of the best comedy films of all time by the American Film Institute. Number 1. Props to the creator. You remember how we talked about how Young Frankenstein ended up using the original props from the original 1931 horror movie, Frankenstein? Well, it wouldn't have been possible if not for the efforts of one person, Ken Strickfaden. Now, many of us may not know who Ken Strickfaden is, but he was actually the person who made the original electrical props for the 1931 Frankenstein film. And thankfully, when the movie was being made, Brooks discovered that Ken was actually still alive and living in LA where the movie was being shot. Mel wasn't even aware of who this person is because he was never credited in the original Frankenstein film. But thankfully, Ken got the justice he deserved and was finally credited in Young Frankenstein. Bonus fact: I see dead people. Now, if you thought that Young Frankenstein is just a joke through and through, you'd be wrong because there's actually a very ghastly fact about this film that no one realizes because it is hiding in plain sight. The scene where Frederick and Elizabeth move under the castle, there are many skulls on display. A common man would think that these skulls are props, but that's where you'd be wrong because those skulls are actually real. You heard that right. These skulls were from real people. Don't ask anyone how Brooks got his hands on these. From the ghastly reality of the real skulls under the castle to the original props from the original Frankenstein film, Young Frankenstein is not just a comedy film. It is a masterpiece through and through. Which fact shocked you the most? Let us know down in the comments section. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you never miss a new video.